Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
The historic Trump impeachment hearings are underway. DBL is live with the latest developments. Today's debate, can the Dems prove he did wrong? Then, John Legend gets crowned sexiest man alive. What's your idea of sexy? Plus, in today's True Crime Chronicles, life inside the controversial Supermax prison. The last reporter allowed to go in joins the DBL panel today. And our brand new interview with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, they give us the inside scoop on the morning show.
I think our writer is just a little bit psychic.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, November 13th. I'm here with Lindsay, Jeff, Al. I am Sam. Let's get right to it. It is a historic day. The House impeachment hearings are underway as we speak. So let's break it down, okay? I know it can get confusing. The first two witnesses testifying today are diplomats George Kent and Bill Taylor. So let's take a live look right now at the hearings. There we are, dipping in.
The government to give opinions to help form the policies of the U.S. government. It is unusual to have a person put input into the channel that goes contrary to U.S. policy.
Thank you. I yield back.
Now, earlier this morning, the House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff laid out the allegations against President Trump.
The questions presented by this impeachment inquiry are whether President Trump sought to exploit that ally's vulnerability and invite Ukraine's interference in our elections, whether President Trump sought to condition official acts such as a White House meeting or U.S. military assistance on Ukraine's willingness to assist with two political investigations that would help his re-election campaign. And if President Trump did either, whether such an abuse of his power is compatible with the office of the presidency. The matter is as simple and as terrible as that.
Wow. Well, the ranking Republican on the Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, also delivered an opening statement. Here is what he said.
By undermining the president, who they are supposed to be serving, the elements of the FBI, the Department of Justice, and now the State Department have lost the confidence of millions of Americans who believe that their vote should count for something. It will take years, if not decades, to restore faith in these institutions. This spectacle is doing great damage to our country. It's nothing more than an impeachment process in search of a crime.
Well, the president is tweeting, read the transcript and never Trumpers. Is there enough, in your opinion, Lindsay, to prove bribery, extortion? What's your opinion?
And those are there are three things that we have to prove, and I think that what has been released over the last couple of weeks, we've seen kind of what we're going to see in this trial, but I'm open ears and willing to see what happens. I think Adam Schiff is asking a big ask for everyone to preempt their days and watch exactly what happens. He also, the onus is on him and the Democrats to convince people who are taking my stance that they're not convinced that Trump should be impeached, nor should he be removed from office. So we had to watch this play out, and I just don't think enough has been brought to the table yet. I think that
How can you say enough has not been brought to the table? And I want to take away...
Because we're basing it off leaks, right? We're basing it off leaks.
But leaks have been leaks that have been corroborated not only by a whistleblower, and again, I don't even want this to be Democrat, Republican, and I hope that our viewers believe me when I say that. If there is an injustice, especially coming from the highest power in the world, I want to make sure that there's a precedent, that there's oversight. I don't care if it's Biden, I don't care if it's Trump, I don't care if it's Obama. I want corruption to be done. I'm sick and tired of our politicians thinking that they are above the law. So when we have not only one whistleblower, but we have people of stature that are very well respected as national pillars of security coming forward, corroborating that, that to me is enough to make sure that corruption is stopped. And that's not enough for you?
I think everyone asked for it to be public, right? And that's why we're seeing a formal hearing that's public. So we'll get the information we need in the coming days to make those kind of decisions. But right now...
But you don't think that was enough so far?
No, not leaked information is enough for me, no.
Really? Even though that you're having pillars of our national security come forward saying, I corroborate, I corroborate, I corroborate. That's not enough for you? Again, take Trump out of this. I just want anybody that is taking advantage of the American people's tax dollars, if that's the case, for their own political gains, I want that person out. I don't care who.
And when we talk about tax dollars, this whole impeachment spectacle is going to cost us about $2 million, maybe upwards. That's what Bill Clinton
But it's worth it if it's oversight,
and that's where I disagree right now, because if it goes to Senate and is dead on arrival, this was a complete waste of time. I think the election
I have a real
is a year
problem
out,
with that.
And if Trump's not in office, what was all this for?
I have a real problem with, then you're telling, in my opinion, you're telling anybody that questions when they see a wrongdoing, something that could be illegal, unconstitutional, even trickling down into our very own studio, into 9-to-5 offices. If you're having someone going, that's not kosher, that's not lawful, you're saying that's not enough to look into? I think we deserve to all look into it.
I think the country's divided on where we go after we look into it. That's all I'm saying, is we're 50-50 split.
So to take your side, Sam, we're kind of just be in the middle here. Even if they find him guilty or not guilty, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Do you think America's going to be okay with that? Because they sure are not.
I don't, I don't know. I hope that there's enough political unbiased, which I don't know can ever happen.
It won't happen.
Where people can look at the evidence, and I know we didn't get that with Mueller, depending on which side of the aisle you're on, and really start calling out our politicians, Republicans, Democrats, Independents. I'm sick of the corruption.
Me too. And unfortunately, it's going to come down to Democrat and Republicans, because even if he gets impeached, let's say all these are true and Lindsey buys in, he's never going to be removed from office because of Democrats and Republicans. Do you agree with that, Alan?
Oh, I completely agree. I know we got to move, but this has been one of the best conversations I've ever seen on this panel. So I do want to say that before I close this, but I'll say I think at this point it's never going to be, we're not going to agree on anything. I think if we were like, every American gets a free steak on Friday, half people are like, I'm vegan, I don't want, okay, so we can't base our policy on if everybody's going to agree. We couldn't get everybody in this room to agree. What we do need to do is preserve our republic. We need to understand and grasp the concept that there is going to be a day where this president is not in the White House anymore. And do we want to look back on our history and be like, we insulted a Purple Heart veteran.
Yeah.
We insulted John McCain. We insulted people that work in the FBI, in the CIA, we undermined their authority because we were so pro-Republican or pro-Democrat. Do you want to say that to yourself as you're brushing your teeth in the mirror? Because you can't have it both ways. So just remember, this story will fade away.
Party loyalty has to go.
It's how you acted.
It's got to go.
Yes, it needs to be respect on both sides.
Both sides. Yep. All right, great conversation. We will continue to monitor the hearings. Well, the long wait is finally over. We're switching gears here. People magazine has chosen the sexiest man alive. They picked John.
It's me.
Should be out. They picked John Legend for this year's honor, and the singer tweeted his reaction to the news, saying 1995 John would be very perplexed to be following 2018 Idris Elba as sexiest man alive. Hell, 2019 John is about as equally perplexed, but thank you people for finding me sexy. I'll take it. And Legend's voice co-host Blake Shelton, who has also held the title, had a surprise for him. Watch.
You already came into this show with an EGOT.
Yes.
And then you won The Voice, so it became a VGOT.
Okay.
Now, you have a VGOTSMA.
And John Legend's wife, Chrissy Teigen, updated her Twitter bio to read, currently sleeping with people's sexiest man alive, and tweeted, the sexiest man alive just made me a ham sandwich.
Wait,
did you hear him?
You think that he's the sexiest man alive?
Jumping at once.
Well, besides your husband, you would agree that he's on the list?
Listen, I judge people by their swagger. I think he's a lot of talent. That, to me, equates to swagger. So, yes. However, there is a huge conspiracy here. How come every single male on The Voice has become sexiest man alive, whether it be Adam Levine, Blake Shelton, now John Legend?
Yeah.
What is the tie between The Voice and People magazine? Just saying.
And I disagree with all three of those, by the way. I enjoyed Idris Elba. I enjoyed it. Idris Elba should get 2 years in a row. I don't know.
What about like an Olympic athlete?
Adam Levine's a good-looking guy, but I mean,
he's kind of
like a 22-year-old Olympian somewhere that's got not only just the six-pack, but the eight-pack, and then that one weird one.
But women,
the D'Angelo.
None of those guys made it. Why is a bunch of 40-year-old guys that should be at a Bob Evans?
Yeah, because women don't judge specifically sexiness on body.
You know who does? People magazine when they say sexiest man alive.
Well,
not women's sexiest.
You know, you do have a point when it comes to the Summer Olympics. We have Summer Olympics approaching us. Why wouldn't they honor one of these like new Olympic hopefuls?
Yeah.
They want somebody to read the magazine, right? You know how magazines sell, right? A famous person on the cover.
It's all about your publicist.
Yes.
It's all about your publicist.
Well, they're tied to The Voice.
Absolutely.
It's the same publicist.
Absolutely.
It has to be.
Oh,
Let's
my
just be
God.
speculating. Let's not start rumors.
But it's through all three guys.
I know.
Stop.
Come on.
Now, if it's me and Jeff. Okay.
We need to hire that publicist. Next year, it's going to be these two. DBL's live. Two of the biggest stars around are on the show. We're talking to Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. They reunite for the first time since Friends 20 years ago. What took so long? And later, it's one of America's most notorious prisons, the Supermax in Colorado. We get a first-hand account from a reporter who's been inside in today's True Crime Chronicles. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. The Supreme Court says Sandy Hook families can sue the company that made the killer's gun. Do you agree with this decision? Your comments are next. Welcome back to DBL. Today's fifth host has come down to a Supreme Court ruling around gun control, and you have a lot to say, rightfully so. It's official. The families of Sandy Hook victims can sue the company of the firearms used in the elementary school mass shooting because of how the guns were marketed. And the outcome of this case could serve as a major blow to the industry or finally bring justice to this act of terrorism. So DBL Nation, should gun makers be held responsible for mass shootings? Take it away, Lindsay.
Okay, Ray from Facebook says, if you're allowed to sue tobacco companies and now vaping companies for products that could potentially kill people, then yes, sure, let's sue. Let the courts decide. And I think that this is a slippery slope, right? If you start suing this gun company, then you can also sue what the Secret Service study last week just showed us other reasons to blame for mass gun violence, which would be like bullying. Are you going to sue the bullies, or are you going to sue a video game maker, Grand Theft Auto, that I know tons of kids play, where they shoot up 20 people within 30 seconds? I just don't know where this stops.
But you can't pull the trigger on Grand Theft Auto. You can pull a trigger on one of these guns. I think it's a leap. I think one is literal
but they're saying
and one
it's
is
about
a little
the
bit more
marketing of the
figurative.
guns. They're saying that somebody had to look at, I think, and I might be misinterpreting this, somebody had to watch that marketing campaign and be influenced by it and therefore make their decision to be a mass shooter, which is really hard to prove is all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Heidi from Facebook says, no, the gun didn't shoot anyone. The operator of the gun is responsible. Well, Heidi, I think this is a loophole. And you know what? The government finds loopholes of why they should keep guns in our society. And now these people looking for someone to blame for this found a loophole on how to blame someone, and they're getting theirs.
Jeff, that's exactly how I feel. Karen from Facebook says, I'm so tired of all these mass shootings brought on by semi-automatic weapons. Guns are being sold to young people for what other reason other than doing a killing spree.
Right.
Karen, I think your frustration it speaks for a lot of people, including my own. And I think Jeff hit it on the head. This is about marketing, and no different than we said you can't market cigarettes to kids.
There should be a responsibility.
Right, it has nothing to do with actual cigarettes or lung cancer. It actually is just the marketing, and that's really what they're focused on. So I think this may be the first time where the other party finds a loophole.
Thank you Sherry from Facebook says no, because if that's the case, we can sue car manufacturers for damages. Here's the thing. I'm all for the Second Amendment and everybody protecting themselves. I do not think that you need to have a military-style weapon that creates mass carnage. And especially if it's going to be marketed that way, it's marketed that way so specific people think, oh my gosh, I can commit mass carnage. Why do we need that? We don't. No one's taking away your guns. I'm all for it, for the Second Amendment. But we do need to be a little bit smarter here and a little bit more responsible when it comes to how we market these killing machines. Seriously. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to DBL. Superstar duo Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon star in the new drama, The Morning Show. The Apple TV series gives an inside look at the cutthroat world of morning news while shining a light on the Me Too era. I caught up with Jennifer and Reese on what it's like to work together again after 20 years on this Chatting with the Stars. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us on Daily Blast Live.
Thanks for having us.
Now, our boss used to executive produce Good Day LA for 17 years, and she says the morning show is beyond authentic.
Don't you ever question my integrity in my own house again.
So it begs the question, was there an inside source?
You know what, Erica, you'd think there was, but I gotta tell you, I think our writer is just a little bit psychic. Because honestly, we stopped filming in May. stuff has come out in the last couple of months with Ronan's book.
But I will say that she did a ton of research of things that were already in the news. So there's a lot of very topical stuff.
But Reese, I have to ask you, I recently binged your talk show, Shine On, and tweeted you gratitude for this template on bravery. Yes, telling women that the waters will be unpredictable, but worth it. Then you gift us with the role of Bradley Jackson. Now, if Bradley was a real person, why would she be so important in today's climate?
I think it's really this question of what is journalism and why is the press important? And we're seeing that every day play out on the news. When news outlets are really struggling to find the truth and all the noise, and also being really taken to task over their politics and the way that they're treating men and women inside of their own industries.
Right. I really appreciate Bradley because she would fit in so well on our panel at Daily Blast Live. Just the idea of just that true confidence of truth telling and point of view. I'm obsessed with it. Now, Jennifer, viewers saw the Me Too era unfold in real time, so we feel like we're a part of it, and we trust you to take us through, and we believe you so much in this role. When filming, how many decisions were based upon news reports versus your artistic vision?
I mean, I think it was a melding of the two. The adrenaline was incredible, and it was also, I thought, written so beautifully, and I did feel, after watching God knows how many moments of this on actual television as we were watching it, happen live, and also feel the pain of this person and the loss that they're experiencing in a small window of time, that they have to digest the news, write out what they're going to say to America, and also to have to compartmentalize their own emotions about it. It was quite a task.
Now, you both played sisters on Friends almost 20 years ago. What took so long to work together again?
Waiting for the right thing to come along.
I don't know if you noticed, they didn't make a whole lot of movies with two girls.
Yes, that's so true.
Two women in them. So it took time for women to get to a place where we got to produce our own material with a lot of frequency and the budgets we need to bring a story like this to life.
Yeah.
This just wouldn't have been possible 7 years ago.
Well, we appreciate the reunion. Thank you so much, Jennifer and Reese. Thank you. We'll be right back. DBL Moving Forward is going to be the most bold version of the show that anyone has ever seen.
I think you've got to go big. You got to be brave.
We're going to continue to be who we are. We're going to continue to be real. We're going to continue to be authentic. We're going to continue to talk about the topics that make people really uncomfortable.
I just want to continue that chemistry between ourselves and the DBL Nation, because I'm so appreciative of them.
We'll start to do that. People will start to talk, and we're going to see this whole show just mushroom cloud. Boom. Boom.
It's full speed ahead.
Wow.
Exactly, and that's like an awful place.
That is be awesome.
To
and hopefully really motivating to a lot of our viewers out there. We have some comments, Al.
Sam, we do, and the first one we'll read is about you, talking about the discussion that you had with Lindsay, and it just says, "Thank you, Sam." And I really, I actually said that while we were reading. It just said, I think you spoke for a lot of people, and honestly, just the discourse that you and Lindsay had, I think was just so, I was just like, what if people just had discussions like this without trolling, without
talking over each other, yelling?
Yeah.
I think because at the end of the day, Lindsay and I, even though it got a little heated, but in a respectful fashion, we both want the same thing. Yeah, we both want corruption out of politics.
Yeah,
so.
And it's because you're both passionate. I like that.
And
you care.
I so respect
so
Lindsay's
thank you,
opinion.
Sam.
Thank you.
Now go eat your lunch.
Okay, I will. Here's what's coming up next on DBL.
Kathy Lee Gifford gets back in the game and does something she hasn't done in more than 3 decades. Wait till you hear what it is. Then, Meghan and Harry might do their own thing this Christmas. Instead of hanging with the Queen, has the royal rift gotten worse? And we go inside the notorious Supermax prison, where the worst of the worst are serving their time. A special True Crime Chronicles with a reporter who's been inside when we come back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. We are live. Let's get started. Well, Disney Plus finally launched yesterday. Then it crashed. The streaming service is back up and running, but Disney has to deal with its past. Viewers noticed a warning on certain old movies. It says, quote, "This program is presented as originally created. It may contain outdated cultural depictions." Now, the orangutan called King Louie from The Jungle Book has been criticized for being presented as lazy and stereotypical. Everyone knows the Siamese cat song and Lady and the Tramp, which characterized them as sneaky. And then, of course, critics have called the crow from Dumbo, named Jim Crow, a racist portrayal. Does the warning change anything in your eyes, Erica? How do you think they should handle this?
You know, I don't know the right way to handle it. I do think that the warning is a step. You have to understand what happens after a very heterogeneous community reads a To Kill a Mockingbird. These might be classics, but out of context of young brains, people don't understand how to process that. So there's actual repercussions after you watch something or read something, and there isn't the conversation about the historical context, the racial undertones, why we are no longer
it's influential.
Exactly.
Completely.
So if you just let this fly and there isn't anything said or done about it, then it's problematic. I don't know if the warning is going to be the best thing, but I do appreciate that someone thought about it.
I will say this, as somebody that's got I don't even know if I can call her young anymore at 13 years old, but that somebody that has a young daughter, like, I don't know if this is like even really that relevant. The female stars and like heroes that they have to follow now. You look at like Captain Marvel or
Frozen.
You know, Frozen, the young woman from Brave. I mean, these are like their heroes now.
Moana.
They would look at Cinderella like, well, what's she looking for this dude for? Like, my daughter would have no interest in that. Why is she asleep?
Well, now, what if they watched it at a friend's house? Would you feel the urge to have a conversation with her?
I think it would look so outdated to them.
But you would want to have that conversation, as Erica said, right?
I would, but I don't think they would make it, because I've tried to even just show my kids Star Wars, like, and they're so bored. Because it's really just a bunch of conversations on a ship, and kids, they need action.
I applaud Disney for doing this, because how many times have we been doing a story like, aren't there people looking at this? So Disney thought about this, knowing that they're going to get pushed back, and it's a great conversation piece to have. Mom, why does this come with the warning? Well, let me tell you why.
Education.
It's a great learning point.
I
Good
agree.
on Disney for this one.
I agree. Kathy Lee Gifford made her way back to the Today Show for the first time since she left in April, and she talked about what she's been up to. Watch.
I hadn't been on a date in 33 years.
Yeah, what was the first date
It's surreal. You know, it's surreal because the world's changed so much, you know. And but he's a gentleman, so it was fine. It was fine. It was fun. But then I got so busy, and we're just from different worlds.
Wow. I love that Kathy Lee, lover or hater, always comes out with her personal business. People want to know.
Yeah, I mean, she's on the perfect show. And, you know, my mom recently at 8, I can say black woman's age, she's gorgeous, 70 years old, found a guy that I love.
Yeah, Mom.
And is getting married and has moved to South Carolina. You can find love at any age.
Yep.
And I felt like it just, like, complete. I was like, please, Lord, let her find a man that recognizes the incredible person she is, and she did at 70, so at any age.
How odd do you think it is for the guy that went on a date with her? Because he knows it's going to come out. The whole world's going to hear about it, whether it's good, whether it's bad.
I have a feeling whoever she decided to spend time with was strong enough to handle it.
Yeah, good old country boy, because she's in Nashville now.
Oh.
Yeah, she moved there. Well, I just don't think it's like some celebrity. I think a lot of people, if you go on social media, are trying to drum up who they think it is. I think it's somebody nobody knows of in Tennessee.
I think Nashville's like the new LA. People are migrating.
You think it's a celebrity too?
Everyone
thinks
maybe
it's a
not
celebrity.
But I think of some success. Maybe he owns a chain of restaurants. Who knows? There's a lot of different.
Well, you could be a good old country boy and own a chain of restaurants.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
to be a celebrity.
I don't think he's a celeb.
You don't think you think he works at Popeyes?
No, I don't know about that.
That's how Jeff. Either you're a celebrity or you work at Popeyes.
I think he's definitely under the radar.
Right.
Popeye stories that took over my brain.
Are successful and private and not celebrities, and a lot of times more successful than the celebrities that we celebrate.
Yes.
So I'm with that.
Okay. The holidays are almost here, but spending time with the in-laws can sometimes be a downer. Stephanie Jones is a certain someone trying to get away from her grandmother-in-law.
Okay, well, nothing is set in stone, Sam, just yet, but Prince Harry and Meghan Markle might be skipping the usual photo op with the Queen this Christmas. Rumor has it is they're going to be in LA for Thanksgiving, which is only 2 weeks away, while baby Archie and Grandma Meghan Markle, Meghan's mum, get to know each other. They might extend their stay throughout December, which means missing the gift exchange on Christmas Eve with Queen Elizabeth and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, and church on Christmas morning. Now, everyone's all riled up about this, but I think this is perfectly okay and acceptable.
Yeah, doesn't every couple, family have to deal with this, Stephanie? Why would she be any different? She's got to juggle her side. Yep. She has a family too, and maybe they just want to do their own thing as a new family.
Well, yeah, my husband and I talk about this. Should we have children so that we are not required to always be at somebody else's house in somebody else's state?
Yep.
So I can understand this is the first year that they can use that baby to be like, you know what, we're going to modernize this monarchy and do something a little different. So good on them.
But I think it's true. But my point of feeling on it is, obviously she wants to go home for Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving in England.
Oh.
And so obviously that's a big thing for her. She's traveling with a very small young child. And only weeks ago she was telling us all how she's really not feeling and doing so great. So why wouldn't she want to be with her mom?
I agree. Well said. I know. Let her be, everybody. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks.
What Steph said just made me think about it really quick. When I was working on that BBC show, I was over there for Thanksgiving, and they had no idea what Thanksgiving was, so they just gave me food, and they were like, "Is this Thanksgiving?" It was good. It was like sweet potatoes and turkey.
They tried.
But they had no concept of it, but they tried. So
Well, that was nice.
All right. Thanks again, Steph. Jeff, you might be fired up about this one. A homeowners association in Texas has ordered a family to take down their Christmas decorations. Yep, the family wanted to get a head start like Jeff on the holidays, but received a letter from their HOA to take down the display until closer to the holiday season. The couple has no plans to remove it, and neighbors, get this, have put up their own decorations in solidarity.
Yes.
What would you do? Because you've already put up your decorations. You put them up November 1st, right?
Yes.
So they're up.
They're up.
What would you do if whoever your homeowners or the landlord came to you and said, you got to take them down?
I'd find that Grinch who snitched and run them out of town. Yeah.
He's not joking.
I'm not joking either. Listen, whoever snitched probably runs their dog all over the neighborhood and poops and doesn't clean it up. That's a bigger crime than putting up positive holiday lights.
It's a Santa.
Yeah. Why
it's
are people
literally
getting
a Santa.
so worked up?
Oh no, I think it's a snowman.
What color you paint your house? Do people go crazy about that? Don't worry about what I do.
This is what we don't talk about HOAs, because everybody acts like laws are just laws and we shouldn't question them. HOA is nothing more than I was the first person to decide to live here, and now I get to decide how things are run.
Power
so
play.
that means So that means if someone has some preconceived notions about people who should and should not be there, it can be written into your bylaws. If you are going to purchase a home or a condo, you need to be very clear about who's on your HOA board and what the bylaws are. Because there's a lot of things. Yeah, you meet them. What do you mean
how do you have to be interviewed by them?
Yes.
Like, how does it, I don't know. How does it work?
Well, it depends. A co-op, generally, you have to be interviewed. But an HOA, it just means I was the first one here, so now I get to decide how this is going to be run from henceforth until forevermore.
Is there drama involved?
It's so much drama. And whoever squealed is likely the person who first moved into that neighborhood and decided, well, I don't want to have any Christmas lights up before this date, so no one gets to do it. These laws are not laws, okay? Question everything.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, got a lot to look forward to when we buy a home.
Yeah.
I'm putting it up. Come on.
Oh, I don't have an HOA for that reason.
If they did that to me and I had to take them down, I would Clark Griswold that house. Like, you'd be able to see it from the moon.
Yeah.
I'd be like, how you like me now?
Yeah.
Don't mess with Big Jeff. Coming up on DBL, we go inside the most secure prison in the world, the Supermax in Colorado, what it's really like in there. A reporter who's been inside sits down with us in a special True Crime Chronicles. Welcome back to DBL. Hidden in this small town of Florence, Colorado, is a place so secluded and secure, it is considered the Alcatraz of the Rockies. ADX Florence is the highest security prison in the world, housing the most dangerous criminals. So we have a look at the Supermax in this special edition of DBL's True Crime Chronicles.
Lingering in the shadows of Colorado's Rocky Mountains lies the country's only federal Supermax prison. ADX Florence is closed off to the rest of the world. On the outside, armed security guards, gun towers, and cameras. On the inside, pure isolation. Inmates spend an average of 23 hours a day in a 7 by 12-foot concrete cell with a bed, desk, toilet, sink, and shower. Meals are slid through a small hole in the door. The only glimpse of the outside world is a tiny window. This prison was specifically designed to keep every inmate in solitary confinement. No one has escaped since it opened in 1994. The Supermax incarcerates criminals deemed too dangerous for the average prison, like the notorious drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, who was transferred in July after escaping 2 prisons in Mexico. Boston Marathon bomber Johar Tsarnaev, Unabomber Ted Kaczynski, and Oklahoma City bomber Terry Nichols are also incarcerated here. Of the 400 inmates, 1 was considered the most dangerous. Terrible Tommy Silverstein. He killed 3 inmates and a prison guard in jail before being transferred to the Supermax. Tommy spent more than 3 decades in solitary confinement before dying this year. The few who have been inside and made it out call the Supermax life after death. Others say it's a clean version of hell.
Wow. We are joined now by Alan Prendergast, a senior reporter at Westward Magazine in Denver. Thank you for joining us. I can't imagine even stepping foot in that facility. Now, you've spent the past 30 years writing on high security prisons and historic crimes, and you were also one of the last reporters allowed at this Supermax prison. So everyone wants to know, what was it like inside? What's a typical day like? Please tell us.
It's a very disorienting experience. You go through a maze of locks, doors, sally ports, surveillance. The staff are in these control rooms with these panels of lights, sort of like the Starship Enterprise, and they're controlling remotely what's going on and intensely monitoring what is happening with the inmates, who are mostly just in their cells.
They never interact, ever. These would Ted Kaczynski interact with El Chapo ever?
The only way that would probably happen is during a recreation period, if they were both in different cages on the yard.
Near each other.
But most of the real high-profile ones tend to be even more isolated, so that they may not be allowed on the yard. Someone like Silverstein wouldn't have been allowed on the yard with other inmates. He would have been alone doing that. So,
chilling.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, you've written a lot about isolation cells, and I actually read an article that said that because they've been in there for 23 hours a day, they start to see things. And you've, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You said that it's almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? Torture.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this would kind of violate our United States anti-torture laws because of like what they're being subjected to, even though there are despicable people?
Right. Well, there is a serious issue there. International rights organizations do consider that degree of isolation to be torture. I mean, it is debilitating. We have studies that show people that are isolated like that, they become very sensitive to noise and light. They sometimes become paranoid. They do hallucinate sometimes. If they already have some mental illness, and a lot of inmates do, it can be exacerbated by that. There are instances of suicide, mutilation, things like that. And yes, it's a problem because on one hand, we do want to keep these people isolated because they are extremely dangerous, some of them. But at what point does that become not a good thing? I mean, at state level, a lot of prisons are rethinking solitary because if these people are going to get out someday, they've been very damaged by this. And some people in ADX, the Supermax, do get released at some point down the line. So you have to think about that in terms of public safety as well as whether you're being humane.
We just learned about terrible Tommy Silverstein, which a lot of people might not know about, and you wrote back and forth with him. You never interviewed him in person. Did he ever have any regrets at the end of his life? He just passed away this past year, I believe.
Yeah, he did. He was actually a very interesting guy. I mean, he's one of the reasons ADX was built, because these murders took place at another high security prison, but the security wasn't adequate enough to keep him further isolated. He particularly regretted he murdered a correctional officer at that prison. And over the years, he did really have, I think, a change of heart about some of the things that he did when he was an Aryan Brotherhood leader and thought was following the convict code about these things. But yes, he was
back and forth with him.
Oh yes, no, we corresponded for years. He was a very thoughtful guy. I mean, he had done a lot of thinking and a lot of contemplation over the years. He was probably the most isolated prisoner in America for much of his career. And you know, if you want to talk about torture, he was certainly in position to do that, but he didn't seem to lose his marbles when he was in there.
Unbelievable.
I just have a quick thing,
please.
Because we interview some of these people and kind of give them a voice, I'd rather give someone like that a voice to say, I was president of the Aryan Brotherhood. It's not worth going down this path. I have regrets. My life's almost coming to an end. I'd rather have those type of things get out there than, why did you do this? And let me get into your mind a little bit more and almost push them up.
You want people to learn from
I'd rather you get those letters that he wrote to you at the end of his life out there.
Well, you know, it's an interesting thing. I mean, there are all kinds of people in these places, and some of them are, you know, by any social standards, really bad people. But I think you can learn a lot from people who have been through some of these experiences. Sometimes they've had an opportunity to look at a side of life that most of us just don't experience.
Wow, fascinating stuff. Thank you so much, Alan, for being here. You can read Alan's reporting on high-profile crimes and prisons at westword.com. Thank you again. We will be right back. Welcome back to DBL. It's time for a health alert sponsored by Health Market. So scientists have discovered a new strain of HIV for the first time in nearly 2 decades. No need to worry. Current treatments for HIV are effective against this new strain. And many of us have learned about HIV and AIDS back in the day, learned so much about where the treatments have gone. But some of you, I'm sure, don't know how much that we have actually changed, and I think hopefully decrease that stigma. So currently 36.7 million people are living with HIV in the world with treatment. People go on to live a long and healthy life. In fact, Magic Johnson celebrated his 60th birthday just this year. There are even pills that prevent HIV, and if the virus is undetectable, you cannot pass it on, even during unprotected sex.
Really?
So again, I think it's really important that we talk about how things have changed, how treatment has progressed, but do you guys think that the attitudes, the stigmas that I just mentioned have gone along with the evolution rather, of the treatment?
Well, yeah, we have to remember how HIV and AIDS became this very more vilified than any other STD or anything. It was very much in an effort to vilify the LGBTQ community. So as we've become more educated and there's more research and information out there, we're understanding more about this disease and also how to prevent it.
And treat it, right?
Yeah, I didn't know about the unprotected sex. I thought you could still get it from that. So there's even more that I could learn about the disease.
It's so many people could have been saved if we would have not seen it as a way to discriminate, right?
Well, or like it was punishment.
Right, exactly.
They called it the gay plague when it first started.
And many people felt like that was karma. And instead of seeing this as a human rights issue and potentially saving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people globally, this became a religious issue for some. And I think that's something that we will always have to pay dearly for. But I'm glad that we are now in a place where we can destigmatize it and know that treatment is readily available. And speaking of which, World AIDS Day is December 1st. It honors the 35 million people who have died. Wow, 35 million people. That will be tomorrow on the show. Actress and HIV and AIDS advocate Sheryl Lee Ralph will be here to discuss how she is continuing to fight against this disease. You do not want to miss it. Again, tomorrow on DBL. We will be right back.
And for affordable quality health insurance, call Health Markets at 1-800-659-0649.
Yeah, welcome back to DBL. Check out this incredible Philadelphia dance studio where fathers and father figures get together with their little girls in a daddy and me class that combines ballet with yoga. You go, dads. Oh, I saw this video when it went viral the other day, and it made me a little verklempt. Yeah. It did. It reminded me of you, like with your daughter.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's some great pliés in there. I would love to be in that class.
Plie?
Yeah.
Wow, look at you.
He's a fancy man.
Look at him. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye, guys.